start the recording, and we'll start with a number 1. Difficulty level number 1 to review what we did the other day. Let's go with x squared plus 6x minus 10 is equal to 0. Now I want you to take a minute and go ahead and start with your completing square. You don't have to factor anything out. We haven't done that yet. You're going to move what? What's the first thing you do? Move the 10 over. So that's going to be x squared plus 6x plus blank is equal to 10 plus blank. Now, how do you complete the square? Okay, so what would that be?
That would be the 6.
6 over 2. I'm going to do this in red because it's important. That means you need to highlight it for those of you that suck at this. 6 over 2 is 3, and 3 squared is what?
9.
And 9 goes here and there. Now, that's going to give us shortcut number 1 or 2 on the left-hand side of the equal sign. Shortcut number 1 or number 2 based on that sign. So that's x plus 3 quantity squared equals 19. Now we can find our vertex. Our vertex is the opposite of both numbers. So that's going to be a negative 3 and a negative 19. Now I also need to put this in intercept form for your homework and test. So I got to put an f of x in front of it. Is equal to x plus 3 quantity squared minus 19. Now that is what they will ask for on a test or homework. That's called intercept form or basic form. Okay? All I care about is this. That's all I care about. Now we got to find the x-intercepts. So x plus 3 quantity squared equals 19. Square root of both sides. X plus 3 is equal to positive or negative. With the square root of 16, I'm going to go over here. Square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 25 is 5. 4.5 is in the middle. So 16 to 25 is 9. Half of 9 is 4.5. Square root of 20.5 is 4.5. So I'm going to say 4.3 or 4.4. Probably 4.3. Somebody tell me what the square root of 19 is.
4.35.
It's a miracle. So you can use 4.3 or 4.4. Now, let's go ahead and talk about this. Let's do this in red. They may ask for exact. Exact would be the square root of 8. Let's see, 19 is what? I can't break up 19 into anything. So that would be it, square root of 19.
9.5. Or
you could do it in your calculator, and I think you said what, 4.35. So you could do that. I'm doing it in my head and trying to teach you how to do it in your head, so you can use that part of your brain, so you can spell mom backwards one day. So x is equal to positive or negative 4.3 minus 3. $4.30 minus $3 is $1.30. and negative 7.3. Now I want you to draw the graph. Sketch the graph and do the domain range, increase and decrease in line of symmetry. And that's what we went over last week. Whatever day that was, what, Thursday? Jake, you remember going over that Thursday?
Oh, yeah.
So who does Clemson play this week?
Bye week.
Thank God. Another week that we won't have to deal with Facebook.
Why do you follow all these Clemson fans if you don't like to see it?
I just snooze them during football season. They're good people. They just don't have a life. They worship and sacrifice live animals to a football team.
I'm going to start doing that.
I'm surprised you hadn't already.
I'm going to tag you in every post I do.
And I will snooze you.
And I'll make a fake account and add you.
Okay.
Stalker.
Hubert McClure.
Yeah.
And I'll add you. That'd be hilarious. I do get pretty bad during baseball season. Just a heads up. Clemson baseball gets me fired up.
I don't even like baseball.
You not fired up for the playoffs coming up?
Oh, I thought they already started.
I love the playoffs, football, college football playoffs.
But
I love to see Ohio State get beat.
Oh, they're going to get beat.
LSU's going to be the team this year. You wait and see.
There's no way.
I've been saying it for the last couple of years. This is their time to shine.
They're fourth, or are they fifth now?
Oh, well, they were fourth, but of course the Darling jumped over LSU and who else did they jump over?
They were 5, weren't they?
I can't remember.
They were 5 before they won. They just bumped LSU.
I thought they were 7th. Okay, I was wrong.
Yeah. Because Oklahoma is 6.
Okay. And Oklahoma, if you hurt Jalen Hurt, they'll lose. So
Yeah, if you hurt him.
Oklahoma still hasn't played a team with a winning record yet, though. So
yeah,
I'm not on
they're
their
about like
Oklahoma
Alabama.
fan.
Alabama's played high schools up till now.
Best Alabama win they got is Duke.
Didn't they kill Duke?
I don't remember
And
what the
Duke
score was.
killed somebody this weekend. Or Duke beat Virginia Tech. But that's an all-children's conference, so everybody sucks in that conference.
So is Georgia your go-to team?
Yeah, but Georgia's going to choke. They almost choked against Notre Dame, so there ain't no way they're going to handle LSU.
Well, LSU curb stomped them last year.
LSU is going to be the team this year. I may be wrong, but I don't see anything. I don't see number 1, number 2, or number 3 surviving.
Alabama and LSU played.
I don't think Alabama's going to survive. They ain't played anybody. I hate to see when they play somebody.
They're getting beat by Ole Miss.
And I
So
don't
what
think
happens-
Oklahoma's going to survive either because they're one-dimensional.
So what happens if Georgia, LSU, and Bama both have one loss? Who you putting in the playoffs?
Well, you can't say that because they're going to have to play. They're going to have to play each other.
Exactly.
That's
I'm
what
saying.
happens when you have. That's what happens when you have 4 or 5 SEC teams in the top 10. Oh, I'm sorry. How many ACC teams are in the top 10? 1. I'm telling you, the ACC needs to be. They need to redo all the conferences. And when they do this, student athlete being able to be compensated. Oh God, that's going to end it. Everybody's going to go to California.
Like USC.
Yep.
I don't see how that's going to work though, because in
I don't
Colorado you can smoke weed, but you still can't do it in the NCAA. So they get drug tested just as much as everybody else.
Well, you can't buy a class, and you can't polish something that's ugly. You start giving people money, and it ain't gonna work. There's some guys that can't even handle it after they get out of college. What the heck they gonna do when they're 18, 19 years old? And they're like a buck in rut. They ain't got no sense whatsoever. All right, here we go. So let's go with our vertex. Our vertex is what? -3, -19. -3, -19. Way the heck down here. Our y-intercept is what? -10. So that's going to be right in there. And 1.3 right in there. -7.3. So it looks like we got a parabola. One like that. Line of symmetry, x is equal to -3. All real numbers, domain, all reals. Range is from -19 to what? Infinity. Increasing from decreasing from -infinity to -3. Increasing from -3 to what? Infinity. Now, if you can do all that with the problems that we did, this is the third problem we've done. You've got number 1, number 2 nailed down. Now let's bump up to number 3. Ready? X squared plus 3x minus 7 is equal to 0. What's going to happen here? Somebody look into the future and tell me what's going to happen with this one. That means I want y'all to interact with me. That's not rhetorical.
Fraction.
You're going to have a fraction. And that means that half the class is going to what? Quit.
Yep. All right, I'm done.
Do you turn it into a decimal? L to the no, because then you have to rely on what? And the whole purpose of learning completing the square is so you don't have to depend on a calculator. You know, have to use your brain. Yes, here's 6 cents to help you out. What am I supposed to do with this 6 cents? Spell mom back. X squared plus 3x plus blank is equal to 7 plus blank. Half of 3 is 3 halves. 3 halves squared is 9/4. That is some major math right there, I tell you.
God.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see how we did that. You know, you square that 3 and you square that 2, you get 9/4. That's gifted and talented. Yeah, they all say that. 9/4. 9/4. I bet Jake's mama called him. Well, no, I guess it didn't know.
I was actually in the gifted and talented thing in elementary school.
What, in gym?
All of it, baby.
I hear you,
I was
man.
a genius in everything.
My son was in gifted and talented until DSS got involved. Something about drinking too much in 3rd grade. All right, so we got shortcut number what? Shortcut number 1 right here. Now here we're gonna do some of that awesome math again. Let's see, the square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 9/4 is 3/2. There it is again. Wow. Oh, we gotta get a common denominator. So we might as well forget this, shouldn't we? 7 times 4 is 28, so that's 28/4 plus 9/4. So x plus 3/2 quantity squared is equal to 28 plus 9 is 37?
37.
All right, finish it. And I'll give y'all a hint. The square root of 37 is 6.1. How did I get that so fast?
Oh,
Oh, the square root of 36 is what?
6. Oh, I got it right.
Yeah, Fire Stick was pretty boring, so I had to watch, what was it, the last X-Men movie? What was it? Yeah, I watched it. It was okay. I'm not much into comic movies. I'm not into them. I'd much rather watch Annabelle.
You do like haunted houses and stuff?
No, I don't go to haunted
Halloween?
houses. I don't want to give people money to scare me. I'd just rather watch a movie.
That's giving money.
Same thing, I know, it's the same thing, but I'd rather watch something that's than watching a bunch of people, a bunch of winos made up chasing you. I'd rather, not get chased by winos and homeless people.
What's your favorite holiday?
Dadgum Smith wants to Skype in. My favorite holiday
Yeah.
is when the frost comes and kills everything.
Hey, that is pretty great. Not have to cut grass anymore.
Yep.
Gets me fired up.
What's Smith's first name? Steven?
Steve, I think. Call him Stefan.
This week we'll get last year.
I'm sorry, Mr. Smith. Dadgummit. I have to put my phone on silent because if I don't put my phone on silent, it goes off in class. And then y'all Skype me. So, damn Ukrainians. I want to get me a job making $50,000 a month. Some of y'all have no idea what I'm talking about. That's sad.
50 grand.
$50,000 a month.
Oh.
There's Mr. Smith's hat. Mr. Smith, I'm sorry. You're going to have to watch the first part of the video. I didn't see your text till I looked at my phone because I got it on silent. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
It's the Ukrainians' fault. All right, so we've got, what's the vertex? -3/2. -3/2, comma, -37/4. That's your vertex. And then f of x is equal to x plus 3/2 quantity squared minus 37/4. And I'm going to quit writing it that way, but I need to show y'all that sometimes the homework and the test wants it written in that form, so that's how you write it in that form. So let's find the x-intercepts. X plus 3/2. I know some of y'all done quit. 37 over 4, take the square root of both sides. X plus 3 halves is equal to positive or negative 6.1 over 2. X is equal to positive or negative 6.1 minus 3 over 2. What's 6.1 minus 3?
3.1.
And what's half of $3.10? $1.55? 155, isn't it?
Yes.
Now what's negative 6 minus 3? Negative 9. What's half of negative $9.10? Negative 455. Now draw it and do all the domain and range and get stuff like that. Settle down, Pendleton.
Jeez.
Pendleton, why ain't y'all talking? I actually had y'all talking last week. What's up?
They're weaned on a pickle.
Yeah.
Actually, very nice.
Well, why don't they talk? What's their damn problem?
I
I guess they just want to be in a closet the rest of their life and not talk to anybody. So negative 3 halves and negative 4 will go into 37 9 times. 9 1/4. Negative 9 1/4 is down here. My y-intercept is negative 7. 1.55 and negative 4.55. Domain, all real numbers. Range, negative 37/4 to infinity. Decreasing from negative infinity to negative 3 halves. Increasing from negative 3 halves to infinity. Line of symmetry always goes through the x. X is equal to negative 3 halves. Now tell me what's hard about that. The only thing that's not 1st through 7th grade math is the shortcut. The rest of it is 1st through 7th grade math. So you will know how to do 1st through 7th grade math when you get to the end of this unit.
1st grade math was hard.
I thought you were gifted and talented. Oh, was that just kindergarten? All right, here's y'all another one.
I can't win.
X squared minus 5x minus 2 is equal to 0. All right, I'm going to let y'all do this one, and Jake is going to show us how to do it at the end.
Oh, I ain't.
Or we'll get a volunteer from Pendleton. And it'll go something like this.
First grade was the hardest 3 years of my life.
Kindergarten was the hardest year of your life.
No, he said 1st grade was the hardest first 3 years of his life.
I got to lay off the Marlboro Reds. Yeah, Saturday I had to work on my daughter's car.
Oh, shucks.
I know. They always come around wanting something.
Yeah.
What was wrong with it?
Well, she just wanted me to change the OIL. And of course, after I changed the OIL and the filter, I looked for other things that were wrong with it. Took the battery cables off, cleaned them, put grease on them, checked all the other fluids. Went and bought her 2 front tires. Huh?
You're a great dad.
Yeah. When DSS doesn't have them. What's the first thing you do?
Move the C over.
Move C. So everybody in here should be able to handle the first step. If you can't handle the first step, that pretty much means you suck. So, x squared minus 5x two plus blank. What's half of 5?
2.5.
5 halves. 5 halves squared is
25
25 fourths. That's shortcut number 2. X minus 5 halves, quantity squared, is equal to 8 fourths plus 25 fourths. All right, finish it. I had to get you over that little hump because I know some of y'all probably quit before you got to step 3.
Hey.
Pendleton, tell me how much completing the square have y'all had?
What do you mean?
I mean in the past. Are you used to it? Did you invent it or are you lost? Before we started.
I wasn't used to the way you did it, but
Okay. Did you do it on one side?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't use that method because it's the most confusing for students. Might not have been for you, and you can keep doing it the way you're doing it. That's fine. But from a presentation standpoint, I found that this is the easiest way for students to grab a hold of. How about somebody else at Pendleton? How much before we started? How much exposure to did you have to completing the square?
A lot.
A lot? Wow. Anybody else never seen it before?
I've seen it. I just kind of forgot.
Okay.
I'll do it. Same.
A lot of people, that's the majority of the people, 80% of the students that I teach, they either have never seen it or they have forgotten it. And when we get to the more complex ones, they're glad that we go over them because they can be more complex. Of course, I'm not going to ask easily because Jake was in gifted and talented, so.
That's right. No, I'm just
But
kidding. I
y'all
haven't seen
here,
this in
Anderson, how
5
much
years.
y'all had? 0?
I tried to in high school.
You think I'm lying? Dude, it was my junior year. of
Well,
high
here
school.
at Anderson campus, they pretty much suck at it, they said.
I'm done here. Holy shit.
All right, so we've got x minus 5 halves, quantity squared, is equal to, 33 over 4? So our vertex is 5 halves, comma, negative 33 over 4. Now let's find our x-intercepts. X minus 5 halves, quantity squared, is equal to 33 fourths. Take the square root of both sides. X minus 5 halves is equal to positive or negative. Well, square root of 25 is 5. Square root of 36 is 6. 5.5 is in the middle. 25 to 36 is 11. Half of 5.5, that's square root of 30.5. So 30 to 30, I would say is 5.75. Somebody check me.
5.75, pretty much on the dot.
It's a miracle. x is equal to positive or negative 5.75 plus 5 divided by 10. I'm sorry, I don't know, where's 10? Oh, I know, I was on the next step. You gotta watch me sometimes, I move a step ahead. 5 plus 5 is 10. That's 2. All right, now, what's 5 plus 5? 10. What's half of $10.80?
$5.40.
5.4 is 1x intercept. Negative 5.75 plus 5 is 75 cents. Half of 80 cents is 0.4, so negative 0.4. Now, of course, you're going to get like 0.38 or whatever. But what are we doing here? Are we plotting or are we sketching?
Sketching.
We're sketching. So make sure you get the exact numbers for your homework or whatever. Use your calculator or use your, radicals. Here we go. So negative, positive 1.5 or 2.5. 1, 2, and down 8.25. And y-intercept negative 2. Negative 0.4, positive 5.4. Domain, all real numbers. Range, negative 33/4 to infinity. Decreasing from negative infinity to 5/2. Increasing from 5/2 to infinity. Line of symmetry, x is equal to 5/2. Now that's a 3 or a 4. Y'all ready for number 5? Number 5. I'll erase to the left side. This is a number 5.
Let's just jump right to it like a 9 or a 10.
Oh, you want me to jump to a 9 or a 10?
No.
What do you want to do, Pendleton? You want to jump to a 10?
No.
Okay. Tell Jake no. Say, Jake, shut up. Nobody gonna tell Jake to shut up. They're scared of him.
Oh,
All right.
They all scared.
X squared. X squared, negative x squared. Let's throw a negative in there. Negative x squared minus 3x minus 2 is equal to 0. Now, this is where, you remember me telling you that when we get to level 5, we got to change our method? You remember me telling you that the other day?
Yeah.
Okay, well, highlight that negative in front. You can't have anything in front of the x squared. So I'm going to highlight that red. Y'all know I don't use red. That negative tells you that you got to change something. You can't have a negative 2, a negative 1/2, a negative 1. You can't do it. So we're going to have to do something different. Go ahead and move C. That doesn't change. And you need to mark this one in your notes because this is from 5 up to 10. This is probably going to be the method. You got to factor out something. So let's go with negative 1. Negative x squared minus 3x plus blank is equal to 2 plus blank. I'm going to factor out a negative 1. I'm going to color it blue. And that means that whatever I factor out over here, I've got to multiply by this blank over here. So you need to write that down. Whatever you factor out on the left-hand side, you got to multiply it by the right-hand side blank. And that needs to get a highlight too. Because if you leave that step out, you're pretty much going to get the problem wrong. So if I factor out a negative 1, I'm going to multiply by negative 1. If I factor out by positive 2, I'm going to put a positive 2 right there. If I factor out by negative 101 over 5, then I'm going to put a negative 101 over 5 here. Now, those of you that learned it on the left-hand side, you just put it beside the blank. And that's why I don't teach it that way, because it can be confusing. So here we go. Now you do completing the square. Oh, I'm sorry, you got to factor it out first. So that's going to be negative divided by negative is a positive, and that's what you want. You want that x squared by itself. And then that's positive 3x plus blank. Now you do completing the square, and I'm going to do it in Vertex, so you'll know that that's where you do it. Because what is the most common mistake made on this problem? They think they got to do completing the square up here, and you don't. You do completing the square after you factor out a common term. You always factor, you do completing the square after, with capital letters, you factor out common term. Okay, now you can finish it.
What is FOCT?
Factor out a common term. So that's going to give us -1 shortcut number 1, x plus 3/2 quantity squared is equal to 8/4 minus 9/4. -1 times x plus 3/2 quantity squared is equal to -1/4. Now your vertex is -3/2, comma, 1/4. That's your vertex. Now find your x-intercepts. -1 times x plus 3/2 quantity squared. Divide both sides by -1. X plus 3/2 quantity squared is equal to +1/4. Square root of both sides. And x is equal to positive or -1 plus 3 over 2. And that's going to be a 2. And -1 plus 3 is 2, be a 1. So now draw your, now be careful, remember, what does this negative tell us? That negative tells us direction. We know this one's opening which way? Down. It's opening down, concave down. So it's going to be going in the opposite direction.
Wouldn't that be a plus or minus 1 minus 3 divided by 2?
Yes, thank you very much. Probably change the signs. Thank you.
Problem.
Why didn't you get that, Jake? You should have saw that.
My bad.
You're gifted and talented. 1 minus 3 is -2, right?
I really didn't want
Yeah.
to call you out and hurt your feelings.
Oh, okay. No, it's all right. I put smokestacks on my truck or lower it in the back end. That'll make me feel better about myself. -1 minus 3 would be a -4.
Wouldn't it be negative?
Cruise the
2,
mall when I'm
-4?
40. That'd make me feel better.
Oh,
Be
shoot.
negative.
Shouldn't it be -2?
God, I'm about ready to quit. I'm just about ready. Yes. -4 divided by 2 is -2. Shoot. Now I'm going to have to wear sunglasses in the gym. Pretty sad.
You go
because I
out to go to the
My
gym?
gym is in my gym is in my garage, so I'll be wearing sunglasses in my garage. What'd you say, Jake?
You answered it.
I haven't had training yet. All right, so we've got a vertex of -1.5 and a quarter, -1.5 and a quarter, -1, -2, and a y-intercept of what?
-2.
So domain, if you miss the domain on my test, don't what? Don't tell anybody. Range is -infinity to -1/4.
Bless you.
Thanks.
Increasing from -infinity to -3/2. Decreasing from -3/2 to infinity. And line of symmetry goes through the vertex x, which is x is equal to -3/2. Lesson number 5. I'm going to give you another one. I'm trying to give you 2 of each level.
Let's go to 10.
What'd you say?
I have a question.
Yes.
For the decreasing part, why is it not negative infinity since it's going down?
Remember, what's the only thing out of those 4 things that go with the y-axis? What's the only thing that uses the y-axis? The domain, range, increasing or decreasing?
Oh, the range.
Range. The range is the only thing that has the y-axis. You with me?
Mm.
So what are all the other ones written in?
X.
X.
Oh, okay.
You got it?
Yes, sir.
Remember the plane. You've given me the mileage. You're not giving me the elevation. Give me the mileage on the plane. Where is the plane in relation to the airport? That's what you're giving me, and that's on the x-axis, not the y-axis. All right, let's do a number 5.5. I'm trying to get y'all to crawl before you what? Walk. That's what I'm trying to get you to do. I realize that some of y'all invented completing the square, but I don't care about y'all. So here we go. X squared, 2x squared
Oh, shoot.
plus, might as well quit. 4x minus 7 is equal to 0. All right, do that one. And then we're going to move up and put a fraction in the middle with a negative. So therefore, most of y'all will quit.
Would you take the 2 out first of the x?
Move the 7 first. Move the 7, add your blanks. Then you take the 2 out. Then you complete the square. Mr. Smith is meditating. Mr. Smith, are you meditating?
Yep.
Ah.
Jake, you want to take this one?
He ain't in here. He went to the bathroom.
He done quit. All right. So, I'm going to factor out a 2. I'm going to move first. 2x squared plus 4x plus blank is equal to 7 plus blank. Factor out a 2. That's going to give me x squared plus 2x plus blank is equal to 7 plus 2 times blank. And I'm going to take my handy dandy highlighter and highlight that so you won't forget. Now I'm going to take my blue marker and I'm going to take 2 divided by 2 and square it. And that'll give me 1 squared, which is what?
1.
And now I've got 2 times x plus 1 quantity squared is equal to 9. My vertex is -1, -9. All for x, 2, 2, x plus 1 is equal to, squared, sorry, is equal to 9 halves. X plus 1 is equal to 3 over the square root of 2. I'm going to rationalize the denominator. So x plus 1 is equal to 3 times the square root of 2 over 2. And that's going to give me x is equal to 3 square root of 2 over 2, or 3 square root of 2 minus 1 over 2, which is going to give me x is equal to positive or negative. I'm writing a 3 where negative is to be. 3 times 1.4 is what? 5.2? So positive or negative, 5.2 minus 1 over 2. So 4.2 over 2 is what? 2.1. And negative 6.2 is 3 point what? 1? Negative 3.1? Y'all check my math, but I should be in the vicinity. What tells you? The sketch tells you if you got everything lined up right. So we got a -1, -9. -1, -9. We've got a 7. We've got a 2.1. Oops, that's 1.1, sorry. 2.1 and a -3.1. What happened? Why is it skinny? Well, it's supposed to be skinny. Why is it skinnier? Why is it compressed along the x-axis and stretched along the y-axis?
Because of the 2.
Because of this 2. because of that 2. Now, domain, all real numbers, range from -9 to infinity, decreasing from negative infinity to -1, increasing from -1 to what? Positive infinity. Line of symmetry, x is equal to -9.
How'd you get 5.2 again?
3 times 1.4.
Oh, because it's the square root of.
Square root of 2 should be 1.4114. I just did 1.4 because I'm not going to do all that in my head. And I'm trying to sketch this out.
When
Yes.
I do that, I got 4.24.
Okay, well, did I do it wrong? 3 times 1.2. 3, okay.
3
I was
times
thinking
1.4,
3
I got 4.2.
No, 3 times 1.4. Oh, is it 4.2? Okay, my bad. I did
Yes, sir.
5.2. 4.2. So 4.2 minus 1 is 3.2, and that's going to be 155. Somebody do that for me. My bad. 4.2 minus 1 is 3.2. Half of $3.20 is $1.60, isn't it?
Yep.
So that's $1.60. And then negative 5.2 would be $2.60. Still positive and negative, so I'm sorry. It needs to be this line over here. Needs to end a little bit. Thank you for helping me out there.
Yes, sir.
Easily
One-
campus stays on top of it.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. There you go.
Can we say it again louder?
No, I still can't hear you. Yes, sir.
You got the X first. How did you change it to the next step?
Okay, x plus what? What? Tell me where.
At the bottom, x plus 1 equals 3 over.
You got to rationalize the denominator. Multiply by the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. You're not supposed to have a radical in the denominator, so you have to rationalize. Rationalize meaning you take the square root and multiply over itself. So that's going to be square root of 2 over the square root of 2. What's the square root of 2 times square root of 2? Square root of 4, which is 2. 3 times square root of 2, you just leave it up. What was that question, Pendleton? No question, Pendleton?
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
When you have x plus 1 and you minus you minus 1, bring the other side, why is it not 2 over 2? Why'd you put negative 1 over 2? 'Cause that'd be like subtracting 1 over 2 from the left side.
Oh, God. I guess I'm just going crazy. I need to slow down, I guess. Hold on. Yep, you're right. That should be a 2. Thank you. So let's change it again, dumbass. Sorry, talking to myself. 4.2 minus 2 is 2.2. 2.2 divided by 2 is 1.1. Negative 4.2 minus 2 is negative 6.2. Negative 6.2 is 3.1. God, I hope that's right.
We may need to start using calculators.
Shut up. You're supposed to say, yeah, man, that's what I thought it was. That's what you're supposed to say.
Wait, how did he get minus 2 again?
Okay, forget it. I'm deleting it. Because 2 over 2 is 1.
Wait.
Hold on. Let me do this. Maybe it'll help you. This is over here is 2 over 2. Okay, I got to bring it over because you got to have a common denominator. So it's going to be minus 2 over 2, and I just put over 1. I just did it all wrong at the end. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I
okay.
still got a trig class to teach. I might as well forget it. All right, let's move it. Let's bump it up one, and let's do
Sure.
this. Let's do, and I'll give you a positive for this
Thank
one.
you.
I'll give you a positive 2 or positive 3. 3x squared minus 7x minus 1 is equal to 0. Now what's that going to give us?
Fraction.
And that's when half of y'all do what?
Okay.
Fit.
He said
What?
Look at it.
What?
Oh, okay. I see.
Nothing.
Oh God, we got to hurry. We only got 5 minutes before y'all start convulsing.
Yes, sir.
I saw where Antifa like beat up on an elderly couple this weekend. That's very nice.
Who was that?
You don't know who Antifa is?
Anti-fascist.
Yeah, they're the anti-fascist group that hates fascism but beats up on poor people.
Makes sense.
I don't know why they don't beat up on the veterans or ICE. Why don't they beat up on them?
They outnumber them 20 to 1.
Oh, is that it? I ain't seen them beat up anybody except for elderly and reporters.
The Battle of Vertex.
That's about like kneeling about like protesting the flag, which is the symbol of your freedom to protest. Anti-fascist, beating up people because you're anti-fascist. What's scary is some of y'all have no earthly idea what I'm talking about. That's the scary part.
Exactly.
Keep them stupid. If you keep them stupid, they're easier to what? Control. So, factor out, move the 1, 3x squared minus 7x plus blank is equal to 1 plus blank. Factor out a 3, that gives me x squared minus 7/3 x plus blank is equal to 1 plus 3 times blank. Now, I'm going to do something here, and I'm going to do it step by step. And I do that because you need it, because some of y'all, males, will try to skip 3 or 4 steps. I know where it's at. I know what I'm doing. And you're going to screw it up. So I'm going to put the baby steps in here for you. I'm going to take 7/3, and I'm going to divide by 2 and square it. Well, you don't divide by a fraction by another fraction. You multiply by its what? By its reciprocal, Hubert. That's right, class.
I said that.
And what's 7/6 squared?
49 over
49
36.
over 36. Again, Real difficult math. I don't know if you can bear it or not.
I can't.
All right, now I'll let y'all have it because I just did what would probably stump you.
Reduce.
Oh, I gotta hurry up because some of y'all are gonna self-combust.
Can we reduce?
What?
Can we reduce, like, for the 49 over 36 times 3, can we reduce that to 49 twelfths?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm fixing to do. Good job. You're the one that's paying attention. Wow. I wondered who was paying attention.
Dude.
Of course, Jake don't have to. He's gifted and talented.
I invented this stuff.
Yeah, there you go. Created space shuttle too, didn't you?
Yeah. I was there when I had it.
All right, that 36 cancels as a 12. So I'm going to write that as 49 over 12. So that's going to change this 1 to a 12 over 12. Now I've got 3 times x minus 7/6 is equal to 12 plus 50 is what? 62, so that's going to be 61. Check my math. 61 over 12.
Where'd the square go to?
Oh, I just dropped it off. Just arbitrarily dropping things off. Like tequila does. Now, you should be able to finish it. Divide by 3. So your vertex is what? 7/6. 7/6, comma, negative 61 over 12. And then divide by 3, which when you divide by 3, you multiply by what?
Third.
1/3. So I'm going to start you off over here and y'all can finish it while I'm doing the roll. X minus 7/6 is equal to 61 over what?
36.
And you finish it out. Now, let me give y'all a trick I learned in the war. The square root of 64 is 8. So I bet y'all the square root of 61 is 7.8. Somebody tell me. What's the square root of 61?
7.8.
It's a miracle. Just call me Rain Man. All right, I'm going to pull up the roll. Let's see. I don't know. I think we're missing 1 in here, aren't we?
No, we're good.
We only got 4. Okay. Okay, Easley and Anderson, y'all can leave. I don't know about Pendleton yet. I got to pull Pendleton up. Pendleton, do you know anybody that's there?
We got a bunch missing.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and do that, Pendleton. What section are y'all, Pendleton?
7.
Lead off.
Love you,
Are you
Hubert.
5, 6, or 7? Pendleton, do you know your section? I don't. So I guess I'll go with 6. Let's see what 6 says. Nope. That's Anderson campus. Let's go with 7. Nope. And I guess that narrows it down to the first one. Okay, Carpenter.
Here.
Cavendish.
Here.
Clower. No Clower. Y'all should be working On the first section of homework now. Drum,
Here.
Griffin,
Here.
Hall,
Here.
Helander, sorry. Helander, Kirkland,
Here.
Mitchell,
Here.
Reimer,
Here.
Rogers,
Here.
Scott.
Scott.
Scott not there?
Oh, I'm here.
Okay, Scott, Smith, Whelan,
Here.
and Wetzel.
Here.
Okay, y'all start on the homework. Y'all should be able to do that first section of homework now. I'm gonna go ahead and see if it's assigned. See what?
The footage from that.
Mm-mm.
I think 2014, 2015, maybe 2017. Somewhere in the past decade.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, there was a conflict between Antifa and free speech rally that happened at the College of Berkeley, somewhere in California.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, when they threw the tables in the student center and stuff,
that
set
might-
things on
I
fire.
think that happened at a night beforehand. But this was a free speech rally. And what happened? They had gotten the cops to show up because they wanted to, right?
Mm-hmm.
The cops didn't do anything at
See ya.
all. They didn't.
Oh no, they were scared too.
Yeah, all they did was put up police tape, and then Antifa came charging in, just marching over it with weapons.
Yeah.
Of course, the cops made sure that no one on the free speech side had any weapons. But I think at that point they were just throwing like fireworks. Antifa was directly into the crowd. I think like some M80 landed in a grandma's lap.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that Antifa actually got ousted out of the city, pushed out by the protesters.
They ought to shoot their ass. What the hell? Oh, I'm awful.